All right, these are notes for section 2.5, transformation of functions. That's what we're going to work on here. So let's get started with number one. So number one, it says our new graph g of x is equal to f of x, which is our function, plus 1. So think of it this way. This is our y value. So the y values of our function, we're going to add 1. Which means that we're going to take our function, our graph, and we are going to raise it up by 1. So if we have, I'm going to do is I'm going to draw our function right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these points and we're going to raise it up by 1. So we're going to take and go up by 1, up by 1, up by 1. Connect the dots, and this is our new g of x. All right. So let's look at our next graph. So that's our first transformation. Next is we have our new g of x is going to equal to f of x minus 1. So this x minus 1 is affecting our x value. So notice here the plus 1 was outside of the function. So this notation means that this is x minus 1. Now, because we're working along the x-axis, we have to think the opposite. So it's like, what is the opposite x value to make this equal to 0? Well, that would be a positive 1. So this function is actually going to move in the right direction. So when it's with the x, we have to think the opposite. And then minus 2, since it's outside, that's our y value. That's going to go down 2. All right, so let's draw our function. Negative 2, 2, 0, 2, and 2, 2. And I'm going to put a dotted line because that's our original function. And this time what we're going to do is that we're going to take our point here, and what we're going to do is we're going to move it to the right 1 and then down 2. And we're going to put our point right there. We're going to take this point and we're going to go to the right 1 and down 2. There we go. And then this point we're going to go to the right 1 and down 2. Now, we could have taken this point, and if you wanted, we could have gone down 2 and then 1 to the right. You would have gotten the same answer. So this right here is our new g of x function. All right? Okay, let's move to number 3. So number 3, I'll move this down, says g of x is equal to negative f of x plus 3. Now remember, f of x is y. So what this is telling us is they want you to take the y values and do the opposite. So if you have positive y values, they're now going to become negative. If you had negative y values, they're now going to become positive. So it's a reflection. And because we're moving, we're going to move from either positive to negative along the y-axis. That means our reflection point is going to be the x-axis. So for this symbol, we're going to go up and down. And then here's our plus 3, so that's telling us to make this to go up 3. All right, let's draw our graph here. We've got 2, or negative 2, 2. We have 0, 2, and then we have 2, 2. So here's our original. All right. So with this, we can do is the best thing to do is to reflect first. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll use my pencil. I'm going to reflect across the x-axis. So these are positive y's. I got to make them negative y's. So I'm going to go. This is 1, 2 on the from the x-axis. 1, 2. And here 1, 2, 1, 2. Because this is my reflection point. That's my mirror. So here's my reflection. So I'm going to go, this is negative f of x. And then from here, I'm going to do my vertical shift, or I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. From here, 1, 2, 3. From here, 1, 2, 3. And then here's my new g of x. Now, why we did the reflection, I could have, let's see, nope, I don't want to say anymore. Sorry. Questions, that's my new g of x. All right, moving on to number 4. So we're changing our function, right, to look like this. All right, the first thing we're going to do is, this is our g of x is equal to f negative x. So this is telling us to take the opposite of x's. So if we have positive x's, it's going to become negative x's. If it's negative x's, it's going to be positive. So we're actually going to shift this going side to side. And our reflection is going to be around on the y-axis. So this symbol is going to be like that. All right, and then here we have plus 1, so we're going to add 1. All right, so let's draw our original function. So here's negative 4, 0, negative 2, negative 2, 2, 0, 0, 2, 2, and 4, 0. So I'm going to do a dotted line. All right, that's our f of x. So the first thing we need to do is we need to shift our x's. We need to go from here over to here. So if I'm going to take, we'll start here. If I'm going to take this point and reflect it on the y-axis, it's going to go, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 from the x. So to flip it, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, which is that point right there. So from here at this one to reflect it, it goes 1, 2. So I go 1, 2. So here's my next x. Then I have 0, 0. Well, that's just going to reflect 0, 0. Then when I come up here, when I have 2, 2, I'm going to reflect 1, 2. I'm going to reflect 1, 2. And then this right here, I have, this is 4, 0, so it's a positive 4, so I need to switch it over to a negative 4. So my graph now looks like this. So this right here is my f negative x. All right, so now, and that's, maybe I'll use like a red for this. This might be a little confusing. So this is my, there we go, how's that? Reflection. So now I need to move all of my reflection points, which is this right here, up 1. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to move this one up 1, move this up 1, move this one up 1, move this one up 1, and move this one up 1. Okay, and then I'm going to draw. Click connect the dots. And this is my new g of x. Okay. Okay. Let's see what number 5 has in store for us. All right, using the same function that we used in number 4. All right, so this time what this is telling us is when you have g of x equals 2 of x. So this is telling us with 2 times our y value. So when you have a 2 in front of the, oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. When you have a 2 in front of f of x, remember f of x is y, we're going to multiply just our y values by 2. So why don't we, over here, let's write our values, -4, 0, and then we are going to multiply by 2. And we're just going to multiply the y values. So this would be -4, 2 times 0 is 0. So then the next coordinate, which is -2, -2, I'm going to multiply my y value. So -2 times 2, 2 times 2 is -4. Then I'm going to go to my next value, which is 0, 0, 0, 0. And I'm only multiplying the y value, so 0 times -2 gives me 0. I'm going to do my next value, which is 2, 2. Just 2, comma 2. I'm going to keep my x value as 2, and then I'm going to get a 2 times 2 is 4. And then my last value is 4, 0. So 4, comma 0. I keep my x value as 4, and 0 times 2 is 0. All right, so here's the coordinates. This is my g of x coordinates. So let's go ahead and draw those. So I have -4, 0, -2, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 0, 0. I have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 4, 0. Okay, so here, this is my new g of x. So if we were to put in our old one, here's -4, and here's 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and so here's the original, something like this. So you see what happened here? Okay, it got stretched. All right. Okay, so that's the one. That's what happens when you put a number in front of f of x. Let's look at number 6. So number 6 says our new g of x is equal to f of 2 of x. So notice that the 2 is with the x. So what this is telling us to do is this is telling us to divide our x coordinates by whatever that value is, and that for us is by 2. So it's opposite. Do you remember when we had that in parentheses, x minus 1, and we went in the positive direction? Well, this one, when it's with inside the x, we have to divide. So when we're working with numbers that are by the x-axis, we're doing the opposite or the inverse. All right, so let's go ahead and use our coordinates. So we have -4, 0, and we're going to divide our x coordinate by 2. So -4 divided by 2 gives us a -2, and we keep the y value the same. Our next one is -2, -2. So we're going to divide -2 divided by 2 is -1. And we're going to keep the y value the same. And we're going to have 0, comma 0. If we divide our y value by 0, we get 0. If we take our 2, comma 2, dividing our x value, 2 divided by 2 is 1, leaving our y value as 2. And then our last one is 4, comma 0, and 4 divided by 2 is 2, and we leave it as 0. All right, well, let's put in our new values for this is our g of x. So we have -2, 0. We have -1, negative 2. We still have 0, 0. Then we have 1, 2, and then we have 2, 0. So now our graph looks like this. This is our g of x. So let's see what our f of x looks like. This was negative 4, negative 2, 2, still 0, 0. This would be 2, 2, 1, 2, and this was 4. So our other one looked like this. Looks like it's, with our x, it's kind of, yeah. All right. So that is the last transformation. So what we're going to do, starting with problem number 7, is we're going to do those in class. We're going to practice. So we will work on this some more. Thank you.